We are live at 11:05, take two. I think the Wi-Fi was down on the first one or whatever, so we had a little bit. Maybe that'll be up somewhere, maybe not. Maybe you seen me a few minutes ago, but I'm back. And it's a little bit past 11:05, but I'm BC. This is Spirit Cars, and we build hot rods here. So today's theme is kind of like taking the idea and turning it into reality. We got Tweety here, and I named it Tweety. This is Alan's car. It's his vision, it's his car, it's his, I mean, he's been thinking about this for a long time. It's a total performance anniversary body. This is our 25th anniversary also, so we've kind of modified the body the Spirit way. The frame is, I don't know who built it, but somebody did. It's a cool frame, short wheelbase. Old school project, kind of done the way it was, maybe, you know, in the 80s, 70s, something like that. So Alan's got a vision. Alan's got to, but he's got to communicate that vision somehow. He's got to get it together, make it a reality. Because sometimes you can see it in your mind, but you can't have it until it actually happens. A lot of people, they have the ability to actually do the drawing. They know what they want. They see it. They can come here and tell me, hey, I want this, and I want it to look like this, I want it like this, and they're very, very specific. Other people, they know what they want, they just don't know it until they see it. And it's like, for the style of this car, man, these are awesome. I've never even seen headlights like this. For this car, this is what I want. But until you see it, you don't know what's what you want. And it's got a lot of rib stuff on here. Alan just found a steering column.
Somebody wants to know who makes the super wide white wall tires on Goldie. Or are they Porta walls installed?
They're probably from Corker Tire. More than likely. Coker Tire. Out of Chattanooga, I believe. So anyway, we had a steering column. We normally use 2 inches to 1.75 inches. He found a ribbed one. So even though he's got this one, Alan knows what he wants, so we're going with that. I got a box here. He found a ribbed box. This is so cool. The whole car has got a theme. So we're putting the motor together now. And the motor sat around for a while. Quite a while. And we couldn't turn it over when we first got it. A little nervous about that, but we put some Marvel Mr. Oil down the spark plugs, and we got it broke loose. We pulled the pan the other day, looked at it. There was one cylinder in the back, had a little bit of rust, totally insignificant to the, I mean, we can clean that up, not a problem. Sometimes I got a motor here. I bought a used motor, traded for it, whatever, and it wouldn't turn over. You just don't know. This thing is so bad. We opened it up and it's like, it ain't turning over. It's going in the junk pile. So there's more to a motor than just turning over. That one's already been rebuilt. But we got lots and lots of cool parts. So what we're doing is we're gathering up the parts. We got finned oil pan here. I guess we've got finned valve covers coming. They're not here yet. We've got, I've seen a trans pan, I bet, and it is. It's finned also. So we're gathering up all the motor parts here, getting ready. Alan and I have talked quite a bit on, you know, all right, what are we doing with the fuel pump? Are we going with electric or manual, or what are we doing there? There's a lot of communication going on. So, I mean, you're gonna have to talk to the vendors that are gonna build the parts. You're gonna have to talk to the builders that are gonna assemble it. You're gonna have to communicate with something if you're gonna build your car. So first you gotta build it in your mind. Then you gotta gather up the team to get it together. And when I say the team, somebody built this intake here. Okay, it's a good one. He's got 2 carburetors, but it's got the oil filler in the front. So he wasn't gonna use that. Gonna find another one, but now talking to some people about fixing this, Alan said, well, somebody said you can put a freeze plug in there to hide that. And it's like, oh, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that. And I mentioned it to one of the guys here, and they're like, oh yeah, you can put a freeze plug in there. So obviously it's been done before. So putting a team together, I mean, just this part, thinking about it, you know, this was somebody had to get the aluminum out of the ground. Somebody had to refine the aluminum when it's out of the ground. Somebody had to take and cast this part. You know, once all the aluminum was ready to go, someone had to design the part before it even was cast. You know, someone had a, this has got a, is this a Durashine? This may be Durashine. No, it's polished. But there's a different, I mean, just the amount of people that had to be hands-on to get just this one part here there's a lot. And each one of these parts, there's a whole team of people had to come together to together to get these parts. So you're building your hot rod. Sky's the limit. I mean, what do you want to build? Don't limit yourself, at least in your ideas. But then be realistic. What can you achieve? What is a realistic goal? What is accomplishable? What is you have to have budgets. What is my team? What is my skill levels? What is you know, who do I need to bring on the team and how do I interact with them? You got to have a communication going on. There's got to be a lot of communication back and forth. Even if you're doing every bit of it yourself, honestly, you're not doing every bit of it yourself. I mean, somebody's going to build a lot of these parts. For us, we manufacture more and we build, I say we build cars. You know, I tell somebody that. I just met my new friend, he's helping us, Eric, he's helping us out building at the new building, and I'm helping him he's a contractor, construction guy, so he's building a restaurant in town, so I'm helping him build a bar and a restaurant. We're doing an epoxy type top. So we're kind of trading out back and forth. I had to help him to get him to help me, and we met in the Lowe's parking lot back and forth. So he didn't know nothing about me, and I didn't know nothing about him except he'd come from Oklahoma. And he's doing this. He seemed like a neat guy and somebody fun to work with. And I didn't know we were going to get to work on this project, but we're working on multiple projects together. So I'm over there, and I kind of drive a ratty old truck. I don't care too much. It's like, whatever, when you get to be old, you don't care what people think about you anymore. So I happen to have a trailer, and I had a turnkey car, and you know, he was like, oh wow, and so everybody's out there looking at the car, and I'm thinking, well, that's okay, not a big deal. So he asked, I said, yeah, that's what we build those. So we got hooked up pretty nice, and he came to dinner one night. He's pretty open, and he's like, and then he finally knew who we are. He said, yeah, I told him we build cars, and he's looking at me going, yeah, right. He thought I'm driving an old beater truck, and I build these cars. So you never know, never underestimate anybody and who they are and what they can do. But at the same time, don't oversell yourself. If you know how to put an intake on, you know how to put a carburetor on, you know how to adjust the carburetor, you know how to rejet it, you know how to do that, because you've done it, you've been taught, you know how to do it. That's one thing, but don't pretend you know and think you're going to sell the product. And I'm not talking about commercially for money, but sell a finished product on your own. You're just not going to do it. It's going to take the experience of coming down the line. Somebody figured out how a carburetor goes. Somebody figures out how to jet it, and the whole air fuel mixture. You know, you got two carburetors. You're dumping a lot of fuel into this thing. Are we doing a lot of it for looks? Are we really wanting to go fast, or do we need to jet it down? Or build your car off of other people's experiences. Don't think we got to do this on our own, because we can't. I mean, that's what the bottom line comes down to. So the point being, even though we build more of the car than most people do, there's still a lot of things we don't do, we can't do without outside support. So I don't know if I've given any tips. Did I do any tips? Anything major? Nothing good? Just think through your project. Think through the whole project. And this has been thought through. I mean, this car has been, as I'm working with Alan, And we're finally now sorting the parts out and getting it to the point where it's starting to look like a car. I'm getting pretty excited here because I get to be part of this project. I bet this is even finned. It might not be, but I bet it's even finned. Look at this. Yeah, this car has been thought out. I'm just getting to step in here and bolt parts on. We're creating some of it, but this car will be themed. Tweety's got some feathers and fins, so she's looking good, and it's gonna look better. So we're building a dream, building a vision, building Alan's car. We're having fun doing it, Alan. I hope you're enjoying the show, enjoying the ride. I mean, you're definitely a key part to the thing here. You're building the car. I may be your hands and feet, but you're building the car. So that's it for the car part, anyway. So now we go to trigger time. This is becoming my favorite part of the show. So if you're easily triggered, you probably want to move on to another platform. So today I'm thinking about communication. This back on the prayer thing. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you today. I wanted to talk to Alan, and there's a lot of, I mean, I'm kind of glad our first attempt failed. Between me and you, there's a big distance, but not really. We're like connected like this right now, maybe. And it doesn't matter if you watch this on YouTube way after the fact or you're watching it live. But even if you're watching it live, I was watching it live one time. We still have about a half a second delay, so I'm not as live as you think we are, but it's pretty live. I want to talk to you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to reach you. Maybe you might not want to hear me. You might not know how to get to me. We share this on a bunch of different platforms, but even YouTube or Facebook, the internet could go down, the service could go down. We could be banned for whatever, some reason, who knows. There's somebody going to flip a switch that says, no, you can't even talk through this platform or network. We share it on different Facebook pages. I mean, we've had one Facebook page say, no, we don't want to listen to that stuff. Don't spam your Jesus stuff here. So I can't reach anybody on that page. You could find us through a different route. Even though I want to talk to you, you may not want to hear me. On the other side of that, you may want to talk to me, and I want to hear from you, but maybe you wrote a comment somewhere I don't see it. Maybe I'm so busy I can't look at the 20 comments that are there. Maybe I'm doing something else. That communication, we don't have that communication. It's not happening. So there's a lot of issues on communicating. And when it comes to an idea and a thought, okay, I can think about this hot rod I want to build, and it takes some effort to put it into creation, to make it happen. Our God spoke, just spoke, and it came to be. I mean, he spoke creation into existence. So we've got a creator he's got a team going on, and it's happening. So how do we communicate with that creator? How do we get there? How do we make that connection? Still working on it. There's a lot of different ways, and it's just because I can do it one way doesn't mean you do it the same way. We all have different languages. We all have different ways we talk with each other. But bottom line is, we want to speak with the Creator in prayer. And I looked up prayer, the definition, so I would recommend, look up the definition of prayer. I was going to read it to you, but I'm not going to. But what is prayer anyway? I mean, prayer is pretty important. At least when it comes to communicating with the Creator. So I actually was doing a little bit of research. And my recollection isn't great, and some of the stuff I remember, I don't remember anymore, and I say a lot, and I've got to look this up. So I must talk to a lot of people with issues, but God has a plan for you, and it's for good and not evil. I can't tell you the address of that, so I'm going to look that up again, because I've said that I don't know how many times, so I must talk to a lot of people that must be dealing with, no, it's all right, it's all good. God has a plan. It's for good, not evil for you. But I need to get to the word to know exactly what it says. So I'm in Hebrews here. I'll go Hebrews 5, and I think I'll start just at chapter 5 and go all the way through 10. I don't know how it is by you, but meat is getting pretty darn expensive here. It's getting pretty darn expensive. And whatever reason, the packing plants have closed down for their reasons, and the local butchers are booked like till December, something like that. The price of beef is way down, so there's not like there's no cows around, but getting them butchered and putting that food on the plate is not happening right now. So I'm working with some Amish folks, and we're gonna get some beef in the thing and put it in the freezer, and we're gonna have some beef. But today, I got meat. It's free. Free meat. It's been paid for, but here's some meat. This isn't the milk. So I'm just gonna read it. I'm not gonna comment on it, maybe. So just listen up. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sin. He can deal gently with the ignorant and wayward, since he himself is beset with weakness. Because of this, he is bound to offer sacrifice for his own sins as well as for those of the people. And one does not take the honor upon himself, but he is called by God, just as Aaron was. So also Christ did not exalt himself to be made a high priest, but was appointed by him who said to him, "Thou art my son, today I have begotten thee." As he says also in another place, "Thou art a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek." In the days of his flesh, Jesus offered up prayers and supplications with loud cries and tears to him who was able to save from death. And he was heard for his godly fear. So offering up prayers is not a light thing. It's not a light thing. Communication with the Creator, I don't care if you're Jesus, it was not a light thing. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him, being designated by God a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. That's Hebrews 5. A lot of meat there. I'm not going to try to choke anybody on. Chew it up for a while. Study it. It's pretty important. Pretty important. We have a high priest after the order of Melchizedek that has become our kinsman redeemer, paid a price for us that we couldn't pay, offered that sin sacrifice. So that's it for today. Work on your communication skills. That would be my advice today. Work on your communication skills. If we're gonna, and I need to do that with my guys here. I got a bunch of guys. It's easy for me to just fly by and point or do and carry on. Sometimes we need to slow down a little bit and make sure we understand each other. We need to slow down an awful lot sometimes to make sure we understand each other. And sometimes we just really need to almost stop so we can hear the still small voice of the one that created us. So have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.